welcome to Farthest Frontier. This is a very cute and interesting game that, well, it does remind me of Banished, but at the same time very different. And in all honesty, I thought I was tired of these games, but I tried this and I had a lot of fun with it, so I figured maybe I'd record a series for this, because I know that this is kind of right up the alley of the kind of games that most of my core audience enjoys. And I expect that most of you have already seen several other content creators playing this game, obviously, but that's fine. It doesn't mean it might be entertaining to watch me play it as well. Since the version number is hidden by the logo in the recording, I am on version 0.7.5F. So you are aware of that. Quickly, just having a look at the settings. In general, you have the autosave interval, you have tutorials, and you have occlusion highlight enabled to highlight villages that are obscured behind objects. Under the interface, you have the UI scale, which I've set to 1.25, which to me, that is pretty decent. Some might find it too large. The default is definitely too small, especially for me. And you have a lot of notifications that you can turn on and off. Under video, you have full screen, windowed full screen, vertical sync, you have the resolution. You also have super sampling, interestingly enough. You can set the refresh rate. I've set that to 119. I like that the game actually puts it one below the standard settings, because that is the recommended for people like me who are using a G-Sync monitor. You have the run in background. You also have an FPS setting for that. You have the shadows setting. You have anti-aliasing. You can turn on and off soft shadows, particles, foliage, and of course depth of field, which I have turned off. I can't stand depth of field, especially in games like this. Under audio, you have master, effects, UI, ambient, and music. And under languages, you have these languages to choose from currently. Now, we are just going to go into the game. You have 3 difficulty settings here, where you can do a little mix and mash with these various things. I usually like to play these games to relax, so I'm just going to go with Pioneer. That shouldn't surprise anyone. I've seen plenty of people play it on Vanquisher, so if you want to see people struggle, then that should be fine to find someone who does play it on Vanquisher. It's just not my kind of thing. You have different terrains. You have the Idyllic Valley, which is a very nice map. You have the Lowland Lakes. You have the plains, you have the arid highlands, which is challenging. You also have the alpine valleys. I think we're going to go with the idyllic valley, and we are also going to turn on pacifist mode, because I don't want to bother with the raiding parties, invading armies, and aggressive animals. Well, if I could do it so that I only had the aggressive animals, that would be fine, but I've seen a couple of series on, or watched a couple of episodes here and there, and when you get raiding parties of 30 raiders when you have 100 citizens, that doesn't particularly strike me as very fun. So as for the village name, we're going to go with Caledonia. Now, I know that it is very likely that I'm going to have to re-roll the map, so if I do have to re-roll the map, I shall do so when we get into the game, while I just pause the
Life can be harsh everywhere, but in the old world, there was no hope of it ever improving. When our crops failed, the ruling class would still collect the same share, leaving our children to starve. And if we had any coin to our name, the taxman would appear, demanding it for the crown. The nobles hid behind the safety of their walls and did nothing when raiders pillaged the outskirts of the city. And so, some of us decided that it was time to leave, that we'd rather take our chances in the wilderness, seeking the promise of a new land, than starve to death in our homeland. The journey wasn't easy. We lost many along the way. But this wild, unsettled land offers us the hope of a new start as the masters of our own destiny.
I completely forgot about the video. So yeah, I thought it was going to go directly to this screen, but then the video appeared. Yeah, so I might have to re-roll the map because I'm not going to take just the first and best map that pops up, since all of the maps are randomly or procedurally generated. And if I have to re-roll, I don't think it's very fun for you guys to watch me re-roll maps over and over. And here we are. We've finished scouting the surrounding area. Survey the land your villagers have explored and choose a promising site to construct your town centre. It is important to choose a location that's near the resources you'll need to build a successful settlement. Things like clay, iron ore, and potential food sources. I'm a little bit amused by the prioritization here. I would say food is more important than clay, but yeah. Okay, let's have a look around. There's plenty and ample of things around in the landscape here. I would prefer to have some location with water, if at all possible. Ah, we have water over here. Actually, there's a pretty large body of water as well. This looks very promising, actually. And the mountain here. Yeah, there's definitely iron ore here, so that's good. Not sure if these rocks here are rock quarries or what they are, but they are definitely larger than the ones that are scattered around in the landscape. There are some berries and greens and stuff around. We can get willow. There is clay out here, but I'm not sure if this is the edge of the map or if it is just the area of visibility we have, since it does specify that this is the area they have explored so far. The terrain does appear to be fairly flat, but are there any animals here? I can't see any. Again, I'm not sure if they are actually visible on this mode, because I would have been... Yeah, no, I don't think they're... Okay, there are animals here. Deer sighted. Those are down here. Surprisingly few animals there. Then again, I've seen those appear after a while. So yeah, I kind of think that this large area here looks good. We have a forest, we have stone, we have clay over here. What we don't have is sand. Which would definitely be useful to have. Yeah, I'm going to re-roll and be right back after I found something that I can live with. Let's try that again. this isn't working as it's intended to do, this button. But yeah, I will reroll, as I mentioned, and I will be right back. I think this one looks more promising. We have a small lake here. We have a large area here that we can build in, and then there's a larger lake down here. There is a mountain up here that has iron. There's sand on the backside. I'm not sure if there's any. Yeah, there's also coal here. So I think we'll go with this map. There's some deer over here. And there's also 2 deer sightings out there. So I think we'll just settle down here. Boom. It's going to take them a little while to build the initial building, because they actually have to construct that. And that involves chopping down trees and things like that, because this thing does require 16 logs, and we don't have any logs in our storage cart. We only have root vegetables and smoked meat and some tools, weapons and arrows and bows. Now I am going to set them up to harvest things, trees and bushes only at the beginning. We'll just do that. I'm running at 3x speed currently because I'd like this to be as quick as possible, because this is not really that entertaining. This storage card, we can just drive it into the town center build site. That was very loud. It doesn't seem to respect all of the sound effect stuff. Okay, we have our town center. Let's speed things down again. And I do like to have a good, nice grid. So we're going to go with a good, nice grid. So we'll have some dirt roads. And we can do the housing. Let's see here. Do 4 houses, or 4 shelters rather. Let's cancel that build site of that road and the build site of that road. And I also have to actually cancel the other ones, because there is a minimum distance for a road. So this gives the possibility of having some decorations around the town center, and also we have a decoration row in between the houses, which I kind of like. We are also going to have to get some food production up and running pretty quickly, so we're going to have a... Yeah, actually, let's see here. Let's continue this road upwards. If you hold down shift, by the way, the road sticks to being straight. We build a road up that way. And we want a forager shack. You can move the work radius of these, so you don't really have to build it far away from the village. It's just a personal preference I have. Build a road out there, and we'll build where are you? Where are hunter cabin? Yeah, take that there. And I think, yeah, I did see a shoal of fish up there. So I don't want the road to do that, which is make a curve. We'll do that, and then we'll build a fishing shack. I keep mistaking the rotate button with R. Let's harvest some more trees. Also, these blueberry bushes, let's move those so that we have them in the actual village. They will be a constant source of food every spring. I think they stop being fertile or fruit bearing in around month 4 or 5. Sadly, there are no other blueberry bushes around. They are usually found around the edges of the water. We also need basic well and a firewood splitter. The firewood splitter does have a negative impact on desirability. I presume that is because of the noise. More people wish to join your settlement. Amass a 4-month supply of food and 6 houses. That shouldn't be too hard. So yeah, let's have a firewood splitter up here because I don't care about the desirability out there. Now, let's set these to harvest. They'll just stay on harvest, so every spring they will harvest the berries from the bushes. I'm thinking we'll have the houses down this way, and we'll have industry up this way, potentially that way, since the mountain thing should be over here. Harvest a bit more of that, and this stone here. We also need a well. I'm thinking I'll build one of those there. I think we can speed things up again. Two seconds. Sorry about that. They're building the well now, and not harvesting the blueberries, but they have ample of things to do. We have a firewood splitter up and running. That's going to have a constant drain on our logs, but that's not a big problem. Logs isn't the biggest problem. I mean, there's plenty of trees around here, and the trees also regrow, so 120, that one, so it isn't quite a quarry. Those I've seen go up to 1200, but it's decent enough. Okay, I think we can speed things down a little bit now, because the forager shack, well, it's actually not too bad of an area here. You can move that around. Now the hunter. I want the work radius to cover both of the deers. That is not really that necessary, but personal preference and stuff like that. And we are also collecting logs. We have plenty of foods in our stores. Let's mark these for harvesting as well. Now the hawthorn bushes, I think I'll just set them to be deleted because I'm going to build in this area anyways. Now, we cannot build the market just yet. We need a storehouse. So, first and foremost, let's build a stockyard. The various storehouse buildings does have some restrictions to what they are willing to store and not. The stockyard the stockyard will cater to things like, as it says, logs, stone, and wood planks. And it also will store ores and coal and things like that. Whereas the storehouses, they basically store anything. Then you have the root cellars, which stores food and only food products. The wagon shop, that's a workshop, so I'm not sure why that's located there. That should probably rather be under resources. The granary will only store grain. That is rye and wheat. And the vault will only store gold. And then finally the cooper will make barrels, which is a late game resource to increase the longevity of stored food items. Well, let's slap down a stockyard here for the time being. And let's also build a road in this direction. And I am going to build more of the foragers' shacks and also at least one more hunter's cabin, because 2 deer points will at least support 2 of them. This fishing shack, I would like to get that shoal of fish inside of its work radius. And this lake can probably support 2 fishing shacks, so I'm planning on having one on the other side here as well that can take the lower part of the lake. And we do need more houses, but before we get more houses, we all will need to harvest a bit more of the trees around here. But we can set up the thing is, I want to have the market here, so let's speed things up, and we can already speed things down again, because now we can build the storehouse. And I think we can build that here for the time being. I might move it later on, but that seems like a good enough location for now. Now, there's a lot of things in the UI here. I will go over things as they are required to go through. Now, for the storehouse, what we do want to make sure is that it doesn't store things like ore and so forth. For the time being, we can allow it to store foods, but I think I'd rather build root cellar for that, but we don't have enough stone for that currently. Let's set a couple more of these stones to be harvested. We also require a saw pit before we can actually build the market. I think the market is 5 by 5. The saw pit is an interesting one. It does have a very large area of undesirability. I would like more people before we get the saw pit, so let's build houses on this side of the road then. That should be covered by the market. Marketplace coverage is kind of important because that's how you make taxes, and taxes equals money. And even though there are traders here, the traders have a tendency to not sell and buy the things that you would prefer them to do. I'm not sure if it's random or what it is, but whatever it is definitely unpredictable. Yeah, the foragers still have plenty of things to do. I think we can set up another forager's hut, but we are almost in wintertime, and in wintertime, having a forager's hut is basically a lost worker. When it comes to the workers, we do currently have 16 people in our village, whereas 9 of those are adults, 6 of them are adolescents, and 1 of them is an infant. I'm not sure if the adolescents work, but I think... Yeah, they must do, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 12 people working, and then we have builders, 3 out of 4. You can set a limit to how many builders you want, but if they don't have anything to do, I think they default back to the laborer pool. The laborers kind of does everything, except work in the buildings. So when something needs to be transported somewhere, they will transport it, and so forth. This is how many months of food we have left in public storage, whereas the red number is how many months of food we are expected to lose to spoilage over the next 12 months. It would be useful if the game told what specific items were in danger of being spoiled. But in this specific instance, I suspect the most, as you can see, the smoked meat and smoked fish. There is, down here you can see there's an orange brownish line that goes for spoil, and the smoked meat and fish doesn't have that line present at all, whereas the vegetables, particularly the root vegetables, or only the greens actually. Apparently we had some fruit as well. I thought we only had... Well, we did harvest some of those blueberries. I suppose those would count as fruit. Probably that then. Seven people have arrived at your village. They have plans to immigrate. Will you accept them into your village or turn them away? Yeah, let's turn them away. Not. That gives us a better pool of laborers. I like to keep this number above 15, no matter how many people we have in the village. The desirability of this area is not very good, 10%. One of the requirements to upgrade is having the desirability above 30%. We'll get around to that later on, though. It is not that relevant currently, so... And now they want to build a market, but the thing is, I can't build a market before I have fulfilled the requirements for that, which is that I need to build a saw pit so that we can make wood planks. But yeah, as I was saying about the laborers, these guys out here who are cutting trees and harvesting stones and stuff like that, those would be the laborers, and that's why I like to keep this laborer pool rather full, because the more the merrier, the quicker you can harvest things. They are storing these things here, and until I have a root cellar, I'm going to allow food being stored here. One thing that we definitely could do with building is a smokehouse. I'm not sure if we can build it yet. Food production, we can. The smokehouse will dry and cure meat and fish. It will use firewood together with the meat and or fish to do that. But I don't see why we shouldn't just put it up now. We don't have that much firewood currently, but I think that they have stocked all of their houses. Notice that this thing does have a very distinct impact on desirability. So we're going to build it up here near the fishery. And I think that is a good location. And there you can see 58 meat was lost to spoilage out of more than 100, obviously. And that's even in the cold season. The temperature, it doesn't say... Well, it says that it's deadly cold, so you'd think that it didn't spoil, but there you go. Most people tend to hide inside during winter because they need warmth to be comfortable, and you can see his warmth is going down rapidly currently. That's one thing I can say about this game. The graphics is absolutely beautiful. I'm not a fan of winter landscapes, but even the winter landscapes here just look really, really pretty. You can hear the wolves. There won't be any wolf attacks since I'm playing on pacifist mode, but I don't know if it's more common for wolves to attack in winter or not. Obviously, I haven't played with them. So they're out. The temperature now is freezing. So at least it's not deadly cold, which is an improvement. We are low on firewood. I might actually put a second laborer in here. It's not like we are lacking logs. I mean, this isn't a high number for logs, but we are not lacking logs because they are constantly chopping trees and stuff like that, so... These thickets don't really yield all that much in terms of... resources, but I think I will prioritize these trees because we need trees or logs more than we need stone currently. So now the laborers will prioritize going here to chop down these trees rather than to run off out into here to murder these stones, which I should also set to harvest. Food stocks are low, yes, that is to be expected with all of the spoiling we had. But it will be fine because we are going into late winter when the blueberries can be harvested and the greens will be forageable again. Speaking of which, I think we want to build a road down here. Let's do a little split off on that road. And we want to build a forager shack over here. I'm not too worried about the low food stores when we have this few people. We had 100 people. That would work. 2 months would worry me greatly. The snow seems to be smelting, so we are going into late winter. No, we're going into the early spring, actually. And New Year. Year number 2. For Auld Lang Syne. Indeed. Well, I think that is a good place to actually end the episode. And instead of having 45-minute long episodes, let's try to keep these episodes to 1 year per episode. Because that'll probably keep them episodes around 30 minutes each. Which I think might be better for this specific game. Now, for those of you who enjoy this style of game, keep in mind that this is going to be a very relaxed playthrough with no enemies and stuff like that. It's mostly about developing the village, facing the challenges of not having enough food, and planning out how to build things, which is my preferred way of playing these kinds of games. I hope that you guys enjoy that and that you will follow the series, and yeah, please do leave any comments and or questions as per usual in the comment section, and I hope to see you all in the next episode.